自分以外の存在がないと、あなたは自分の形がわからないからよ。自分の形。
What if I told you that the thing that you're desperately chasing isn't actually what you want?
Part of me loves seeing videos like this, but the other part of me finds them uncomfortable and uncanny, as if I'm the one being watched. This feeling is neither new nor unique to YouTube, and I realized it needed to be investigated. In psychoanalysis, there's this idea of misrecognition, méconnaissance, best represented by the mirror stage, that an infant will see their reflection for the first time and believe it is themselves, believe it is their truest self. But it's not! The image they see exists more in imagination than in reality. To me, this is the essence of YouTube, at least the kind of YouTube that makes YouTube YouTube. The you part of it.
I'm not gonna push it, but you know how mad I am.
This desire to see and understand yourself, the self you see in reality, and the way you understand yourself in your mind. I believe the following is what happens when we look in a mirror. We see an image, but like any other image, on its own it's just a meaningless blob of light and color, pleasantly tickling our eyes. Our minds have to give it a meaning, the image of ourselves. That nose, those eyes, that expression, I see them as me and then relate them to the me in my mind. The mirror image of the self, which we assign the word self, which we then compare to the mental image of the self. But as much as I want to believe that I'm a penguin from Madagascar, I'm not.
I actually identify as an attack helicopter. Call me Apache.
And to look in the mirror and not see an attack helicopter is despair.
Despair!
Obviously, the helicopter example is a joke, but why doesn't it work? Why is it highly unlikely that anybody will ever identify as an attack helicopter?
We've got the abilities of the strongest warships embedded in our bodies!
Fucking Japan, bro. Holy cow. To Descartes, I think, therefore I am. The I is the beginning, the only thing we can be truly certain of. But to Lacan, it's the opposite. The I is the illusion, the one thing we will truly never be certain of. Your thoughts don't come just from you. Because we think in language, and what is language? It's a social construct, but one that we're so bad at using.
Why is this word used so frequently? I just don't understand it. And I'm trying to understand it. I put the H on it to emphasize.
And without fully understanding language, I don't think you can say you fully understand your thoughts.
And my first thought wasn't, oh my God, he said the word, the N word. It was, now how is a nigga gonna borrow a fry? Nigga, is you gonna give it back? I'm telling you, my inside voice didn't talk like that before he got in my class.
So I'll be like, holy hawktua, and they'll be like, what are you talking about? What is a holy hawktua? I don't know. How am I supposed to explain what hawktua is to you?
I just imagine Lacan screaming at Descartes, you think you own the language you use? You think you can hear or see the self? You own none of it, and are very, very little of it. In the earlier penguin example, I made it sound like I see the mirror and immediately call it myself. But before that, there's a layer of processing. Imagine a street artist drawing a picture of you. It takes a second to even recognize it.
Good. You like it? Yeah. Oh, good.
You may think a mirror is more objective, but in reality it's just as flawed. 3 reasons for this stick out to me. 1, it shows a simple image of the self, making you think it's something you can fully understand, when in reality the self is fragmented and impossible to ever fully understand.
I'm sadness.
2, in a mirror, you will only ever see one thing. I see myself seeing myself, but that's different than actually seeing yourself. And 3, and probably the most relevant for this video, when you look at yourself, there will be something you want to see there, an idealized version of yourself. But when you want to see something, you control what you see. You warp it through rose-tinted glasses. When I look at a photo or a video or an Instagram reel, I never actually see it. I only ever see my perception of it.
You are 100% fucking gay.
Hey there.
This is one of my all-time favorite quotes, and I've been looking all year for an excuse to use it. But it goes, "There are some who imagine we are every moment intimately conscious of what we call ourself. For my part, I always stumble on some particular perception or other of heat or cold, light or shade, love or hatred, pain or pleasure. I never can catch myself at any time without a perception, and never can observe anything but the perception." Mirrors are not the only mirror-like thing. When Mulan is called a disgrace, that's a reflection of herself. That's mirror-like. When you watch a movie and begin crying or feel any kind of way, that too is mirror-like. When somebody makes a YouTube video, that is them creating their own mirror image. And in the modern day, mirrors aren't even the most mirror-like thing anymore. It's social media. See, social media isn't just a mirror, it's the super mirror. In a normal mirror, I see myself seeing myself, but in social media, I see somebody else seeing themselves, and through that, I see myself seeing myself.
I don't think he knows what he said either.
You could use the word parasocial here, but that word's a bit loaded at this point. What I'm talking about is a little different than what these people are talking about. I don't want to take in an image I know is fake. And on YouTube especially, it's all curated, all carefully picked out and meditated on. That's the best part and the worst part of YouTube. We're all painfully aware that we're all watching each other, and that we all want something, and that makes us all act just a bit funky.
And don't forget the light! I'm not as fucking
I mean, anyone that thinks Mr. Beast is about anything other than making himself the richest YouTuber in the world has missed something.
他人との違いを認識することで自分をかたどっているのね。一番最初の他人は母親。
Lacan regularly utilizes the terms other with a lowercase o and other with a capital O. The capital O other refers to two additional types of otherness corresponding to the registers of the symbolic and the real. The first type of other is Lacan's big other, qua-symbolic, namely... To me, that capital O other is everything that shapes you from the outside. Your parents' expectations, the government, beauty standards, language, money. In the morning, you wake up. You eat a bowl of cereal. Why cereal?
Do you want to get some cereal?
Or pancakes or toast. Why not noodles or pasta or ice cream or steak? Because that's not what you're supposed to do? That's the other. Social anxiety is the other. Feeling trapped and tied down by obligation is the other. It's angst, a teenage kind of angst, but for me, this feeling of noticing the other was what it meant to be a teenager. Being able to feel that I was being controlled by something, but not being able to understand or articulate it.
君は五条悟だから最強なのか、最強だから五条悟なのか。
The lowercase o other is different, but deeply linked. It's your rival, your reflection, your twin that does you better than you do.
To discover that no matter how hard I tried, I would never be able to catch you. A warrior prince forever living in the shadow of a low-level clown.
But it can also be a friend or a mentor. The point is the comparison. He's just like me for real. Except that he isn't.
Dude, I'm literally Sung Jin-woo. What do you mean? You look nothing like him. Dude, look at me, I'm Korean. Right. Wait, bro, what are you doing? Those are my sister's asses.
If I watch any video long enough, see any image long enough, I lose myself and start to become them. I remember in college Dragon Ball Super came out. For that whole month, I was a kid again. I was me again. Because the me I had become after leaving high school wasn't me anymore. My whole life I looked for this, for the other. Each one representing a puzzle piece to my idealized self, my ideal I. It's not a bad thing necessarily, but it's a thing you have to be aware of or you'll lose touch with reality. Through working on this video, I realized this is what I fear. As a creator, the most common starting advice is to copy the channels you like, with caveats that you should develop your own style. But what does that mean when you have no style? For years, I wanted to be Gigguk because I really liked his videos. He would say things on my mind better than I ever could, but only now do I realize in ways I never would. I warped my perception to see him as me and me as him. And if you want to, you can find similarities between anybody. This is the first video I worked on after quitting my job, and it was modeled after his domestic girlfriend video. I mean, just look at the title. But it was because I loved his video. It took a while to make that video, longer than it should have.
Psych! That's the mom!
1, because I was a noob, and 2, because I struggled so hard trying to fit my video into his box.
Well, I suggest you gentlemen invent a way to put a square peg in a round hole.
Probably around half the time was spent just realizing how impossible that was. Because we're talking about a video, not a freaking engineering problem. That realization even became the main focus of the video, losing its original purpose of being about how deeply this anime resonated with me. I mean, I still talked about that in the end, but not in the way I originally intended to. Originally, it even started with a completely different quote. Once a fat kid, always a fat kid, and a picture of a certain very slightly chubby 7-year-old. But then I was like, nah, nobody wants to hear about me. Part 4. Authenticity. Last week I watched one of the best videos I've ever watched in my life. It felt like he said everything I wanted to say in this video, but better. The cuts, the pacing, the humor, the sound design, faster, funnier, and simpler than me. It's weird. Ever since I started writing this script, I've begun to enjoy YouTube again, but it's different than before. When that amazing video ended and the glow faded, I found myself wondering, was it really as real as I'd felt it was? Later that day, I watched it again, and it was different. It was clearly a performance, which doesn't mean he's lying, doesn't mean he wasn't being real, but it was curated. Even him throwing eggs at the mirror in the name of spontaneity was planned and premeditated. The thought, love, and care put into it was what I loved the most about it, but I wonder, does that take away from the authenticity? Are the rawest versions of ourselves the most authentic, or the ones we carefully craft and think deeply about? At the end of the day, even a live stream is a performance. Even a random walk down New York is a performance, or a chat with friends, or a date. I don't know which one of these is the real me. I don't know. I don't know why I'm recording this. I just felt like it would be interesting to see, like, I'm recording myself talking about myself recording myself. I don't know. I'm curious if, like, I will react differently now that I'm recording myself from before. Like, if there's something, if something unexpected will happen, not because I'm recording myself, but when I finish the thing. But I do worry that because I'm recording myself, the unexpected thing will be a different unexpected thing, or it won't happen at all. But anyways, whatever. We do what we can. Can never be perfect on these things.